Welcome to NH120 Healthcare Ethics. What we're going to do today is start with thinking about what ethics is and how it relates to medicine and the practice of healthcare. To begin with, ethics is a branch of philosophy. So let's get a thumbnail sketch on philosophy. What is philosophy? Philosophy is an academic discipline to now with many different areas of investigation, but it's probably the best way to begin thinking about philosophy is to look at the root of the words from Greek. The word philosophy is comprised of two words, philo and sophia. Philo means love of something, as in an audiophile who likes music. Sophia actually means wisdom, as in the idea of a sophomore, someone who is part wise and part not so wise, sophomore. In any event, when we combine the two terms together, philosophy, we have the love of wisdom or the love of knowledge. Ethics is a major division of philosophy. Here, in this division, what philosophers or people we call ethicists, or specific to our concern, medical ethicists, do is to investigate the nature of good so as to inform behavior, to determine what is appropriate or moral or good behavior, and what is inappropriate or behavior that is frowned upon. In a way, ethics requires us to define the good, and that's what we're going to do in the first part of this class. First week or so will be dedicated to looking at the nature of moral theory. As it happens, there are only a few major normative theories that philosophers and ethicists have defined, and we're going to be looking at representatives of each one of them. Your task, after viewing this video and doing the class readings and writing on the material, is to determine which of those moral theories best fits your moral outlook. Once you've identified that, you'll be well along the way to being able to resolve moral dilemmas that might arise in a clinical or medical healthcare setting. Okay, so let's begin by looking at the first set of moral normative theories. And by the way, when I use the word moral, I'm using it synonymously with ethical. They mean the same thing. All right, the first major normative theory is something that we call virtue ethics or character-based ethics. Spend some time looking at that one. It began essentially in the ancient Greek world, but it's found in other cultures too. Sometimes called warrior ethics because of its emphasis on bravery and courage. The second kind of ethics that we're going to be looking at, the second major normative theory, is the idea of a rule-based ethic or deontological, equally as old as the virtue-based, character-based ethics. The deontological model uses rules or principles to guide one's behavior. You can find these in religious traditions, for example, and most of the professional codes in medicine that you will be signing on to, say as a physical therapist or as a physician or a sports medicine practitioner, will consist of uh, bodies of ethics that you'll have to agree to receive licensure in those fields. And those are codes or principles. The third kind of normative theory is an outcome-based or consequentialist model, and the model that we're going to be looking at is called utilitarianism. Here, you look at the outcome of the act. You're not looking at the virtues like bravery or at rules, but what comes about as a result of doing a certain behavior. And finally, the newest kid on the block is care theory or care ethics. This arose out of the 1960s and 70s with the critique of the first three, and it's going to recenter and focus on care as the primary focus of moral attention. So for those four theories, we're going to go over each one of them in a subsequent video, looking at the development of them, the major theorists, and also offering some criticisms and shortcomings of them, all in the effort for you to be able to pick which of the one best fits your moral outlook. Now, a note on that. It's not going to be a perfect fit, and you're going to at times think that at one time you're a virtue theorist, another you're a rule-based theorist, and you often look at outcomes. And it is the case that most ethics are situational, but in order to fully understand where you're coming from, I think it's good to understand that you have a moral predilection, a kind of tendency to view things either as a deontologist or a virtue theorist. And also, it's going to be an easy way to look how you might resolve moral dilemmas later on when you do see these kinds of clashes in a healthcare setting. Okay, so that's going to conclude our brief introduction here, and we will continue in subsequent lectures. Thank you.